Okay, well, the first thing we want to do is get the motor out and the transmission. It works nice to get the transmission out so we can weld behind the frame here. We are going to have to cut the suspension frame to install the new Wasteland kit. And what I like to do is take all the suspension parts out, get the grease out of it. That way we can, filings when we're grinding, it doesn't, there's not filings in there and stuff. But what we're going to do is put it back together and mark this. Okay, what we got here is Chad and I drew kind of a baseline here for our cut. We'll start up here. We typically use a Sawzall. That works the best. A grinder will work too, cut-off saw. But we'll start, and I run right along the edge of these holes all the way down, and try to get as close as you can to the welds. Try to get as much as you can all the way to the front. And then this little tab here, cut that also. And then what we'll do then, we'll cut that off, and also up here, go as close as you can, maybe leave a little bit to keep that strong. Then after we get that out, then we'll take the main part here, and we'll cut off our 3/4 of an inch, and we'll show you that later.
You can see what Lynn was talking about. We're going to cut this whole tab out. We just marked it on this side also so you can see it. You're basically removing that bracket, a portion of this bracket, so that you can take out that 3/4 of an inch, and you slide it back, and then you weld it back together. And again, up top, we cut it away from the frame up here. Later on, you'll see that we have a tube that goes back in there to replace that.
Okay, what we have here is I cut it out of the frame, and you kind of see our line we went on. I'll flip it around here. And here I'm going to show you, this is where we're going to take off our 3/4. Go a little less because we can always grind. Maybe 5/8 or so. And we'll cut them off. And then we're going to cut this pipe out too. The pipe kind of comes off here. We need this bracket, and then so we'll cut right around that weld there, like so. And then, as long as we're at it, there's a weld, manufacturing weld here. We're gonna grind that down. That way we get a little more clearance for the belt then, and that way it's all nice and smooth. I think it looks better. So we'll go with that for now, and I'll get it ready. We'll go to the buggy itself and grind off our old welds, and I'll show you how to weld it back in.
Okay, we're ready to start assembling and spot welding the main suspension back in. Lynn's got the lower A-arm already placed in there. He's going to slide the upper one on. Then he will put the piece in that he's cut and narrowed up to fit in there.
Okay. I'm going to leave that off for now.
If you look from the back side, you can see where his fingers are. You can see that seam, and that's where we're going to be welding. And then if you look at the suspension up top, you can see that that's all lined up.
Yeah, Chad, we want to keep this flush, so maybe run your hand, keep that flush right there, and the bottom flush, and then as long as our bolts, the bracket here goes up to the arms, then it should be, cut and cut properly, I guess.
So now Lynn's ready to actually put the bolts onto the suspension so he can tighten that up, which will allow everything to can use the bolt tension to help you align that bracket in there.
And then here we're looking here again. Remember our lines, and that all looks really good. So I know that, you know, if it's off a little bit, see how it's gonna do that there. I'll put it back where I think it goes. The S's, Chad, if you want to come around this side. The S's work really nice. There is this cross member or reinforcement in here, and you will know if it's up or down or in the proper position. The standard models do not have this, and then you're going to have to for sure do the A-arm mark out here to get this lined up right. And then I'll install it and we'll weld her up.
Okay, Lynn's got her all bolted in. It's all aligned. You can see the marks on the suspension here that he made. So you can see that's aligned in there. See that everything's good there.
This is, make sure this is flush. And I can tell it's off just a little bit here. So I just, there, it's right on just a little.
That's why using the suspension and bolting it in works really well, because you can tighten that right down when you go to
and then even
tack it.
The bracket behind here, you can even go by that too and know whether it's in there properly. And then you'd want to, the bolts are going to be too long, so we should cut the bolts off, so mark them. This bottom bolt, there's not enough threads on the bolt itself, so on the back side maybe throw a 1 washer on and 2 on this side. Length here is not an issue, other than, you know, a guy should almost cut that off. Go ahead, Chad.
Okay, so cut those bolts off after you disassemble. Slide the
Here's our insert.
plug in that comes with the kit.
And you can, you know, grind that even beforehand too. Make sure that slides in there nice. Here's our pipe.
Again, that comes with the kit. We don't trim each side. We have you fit that in there.
If you get down here, Chad, right here's the old pipe location right here. And if we're just behind it, that's good. And maybe you want to go back and get an angle.
Basically what that angle is doing, the angle by just above Lynn's hand there, is so that our exhaust can come around there.
And there is a water pump.
And a water pump.
You know, nipple that sits right about where my finger is. Comes around.
Okay, so everything's ready to be tacked.
Yeah. One more note: this is 4 inches from the bend to the pipe to the bottom. So we'll put the 4 inches here, not on top. No, won't go that way. So. And that's ready to be welded in or tacked.
Okay, so you tack her in.
Yep.
Get everything good.
And then you can remove the A-arms, and then
finish welding on the front.
Finish welding it. Yep.